Hey everyone, welcome back to Speak Like I Leader. Have you ever felt nervous when someone suddenly asks, "So, what do you do?" and your mind just goes completely blank?
Oh, yes. That happens to so many people. Sometimes we know our job very well, but explaining it in English feels difficult and stressful.
Exactly. And that's why today's conversation is going to help you a lot, because we're talking about jobs, work routines, career goals, and real-life office conversations in very simple English.
Whether you are a student, an employee, a business owner, or someone searching for a dream job, this episode is perfect for you.
And trust me, James, today's lesson is not going to feel boring like a classroom lecture.
Definitely not. We're going to make it fun, natural, and super easy for beginners to understand.
So grab your coffee, relax for a few minutes, and practice speaking English with us like real friends having a real conversation.
And before we begin, don't forget to support Speak Like Leader by subscribing to the channel and sharing this episode with your friends.
Your support honestly motivates us to create more helpful English conversations every single week.
All right, Zoe. Are you ready to enter the world of offices, meetings, deadlines, coffee breaks, and dream careers?
I was born ready, James.
Okay then, let me ask you one of the most common questions people hear almost every day. What do you do?
Good question. The easiest answer is simply saying your job title. For example, I can say, "I'm a content creator and presenter for Speak Like Leader."
That sounds creative and interesting already.
Thank you. And what about you, James? What do you do?
I'm an English teacher, and I help students improve their communication skills every day.
Honestly, you explain things so clearly that learning English feels much less scary.
That's really kind of you to say.
Sometimes people also ask where you work, right?
Exactly. You can say things like, I work for an international company, or I work for a marketing agency.
And if you work for yourself, you can proudly say, "I'm self-employed."
Yes. And being self-employed means you are basically your own boss, which sounds exciting but also challenging.
Very true. Sometimes it feels amazing, and sometimes it feels like your boss never gives you a day off because the boss is you.
That is painfully accurate.
Another important thing people talk about is responsibilities. In simple words, what do you actually do at work every day?
Right. For example, I can say, I prepare lessons, teach students, and help them practice spoken English.
And I can say, I manage social media, create videos, and interact with our audience online.
See? These answers sound natural, professional, and very easy to understand.
And the best part is that these are real-life English sentences you can start using immediately after watching this episode.
So stay with us till the end, because today, you're not just learning vocabulary. You're learning how to speak confidently about your life, your work, and your future.
All right, James. Now let's go a little deeper because after people ask about your job title, they usually become curious about your daily routine and want to know what your normal workday actually looks like from morning until evening.
That's absolutely true. And this is where many English learners get confused because they know the vocabulary, but they don't know how to explain their daily activities naturally and smoothly in conversation.
Exactly. So, a very simple way to start is by talking about the time you begin and finish work, because almost everyone understands questions about schedules and working hours.
For example, I can say, I usually start work at 8:30 in the morning, and I finish my classes around 4 in the afternoon unless I have extra meetings.
That already sounds like a complete and realistic answer, and listeners can clearly imagine your routine in their minds.
What about your workday, Zoe? I feel like content creators probably have a very busy and unpredictable schedule.
Oh, you have no idea. Some mornings begin peacefully with coffee and planning, and other mornings start with technical problems, missed deadlines, and panic.
That honestly sounds like the behind-the-scenes reality of almost every creative job nowadays.
Exactly. But normally, I start my morning by checking emails, replying to messages, and planning content ideas for Speak Like Leader before recording videos.
That sounds productive already, and I'm guessing meetings are also a big part of your day.
Unfortunately, yes. Sometimes I attend short online meetings that were supposed to last 10 minutes, but somehow continue forever.
I think everyone watching this can relate to that painful experience.
After meetings, I usually focus on my main tasks like writing scripts, practicing presentations, recording lessons, and discussing new ideas with the team.
That's a great example because it shows how to describe work responsibilities in a natural and organized way instead of just listing random words.
And don't forget breaks, because people often talk about lunch breaks or coffee breaks when describing their routine at work.
Yes, I usually have lunch with my coworkers, and honestly, those small conversations during lunch sometimes become the best part of the entire workday.
I completely agree, because having supportive colleagues can make even stressful days feel lighter and more enjoyable.
That's very true. A healthy work environment is just as important as salary because nobody wants to spend 8 hours every day feeling unhappy or uncomfortable.
Speaking of work environments, James, do you prefer working from home or working in an office with other people around you?
Honestly, I enjoy both. Working from home feels peaceful and comfortable, but sometimes I miss the energy and interaction of being around other people.
That's why many people now prefer hybrid jobs, where they can work from home on some days and go to the office on other days.
Yes, hybrid work has become extremely popular because it gives people more flexibility and helps them balance their personal life and professional life more easily.
Some people also work outdoors instead of sitting inside an office all day. And honestly, that sounds refreshing compared to staring at screens for hours.
I agree. Imagine working in nature instead of answering emails every 5 minutes.
That honestly sounds like a dream job already.
Another thing people notice quickly is whether a workplace feels formal or informal, because the atmosphere changes the entire experience of working there.
Exactly. In formal workplaces, employees usually wear professional clothes, follow strict schedules, and behave more seriously during meetings and conversations.
Meanwhile, informal workplaces are usually more relaxed, friendly, and comfortable, and sometimes employees can even wear jeans and casual clothes.
Personally, I love relaxed workplaces because people communicate more openly, laugh more often, and usually feel less pressure during the day.
And when people feel comfortable and respected at work, they often become more creative, more motivated, and much happier with their jobs overall.
You know, James, one thing that really changes a workplace is the relationship between coworkers. Because good colleagues can make even the busiest days feel enjoyable and motivating.
That's absolutely true. When people support each other, share ideas, and communicate kindly, work feels less stressful and much more meaningful.
I always admire teams that work together like a family because the atmosphere becomes warm, positive, and encouraging instead of cold and competitive.
Yes, and in many companies, teamwork is extremely important because big projects usually require many people working together toward the same goal.
For example, someone might say, I work in a small team, and we help each other whenever someone has too much work or feels stressed.
That sounds natural and professional at the same time, which is exactly how real conversations in English should sound.
And let's not forget useful workplace vocabulary, because these small words appear constantly in office conversations, interviews, and meetings.
Right. One very common expression is open office or open space, which describes a large office where many employees work together in one shared area.
Honestly, open offices can be fun, but sometimes they're also incredibly noisy when everyone starts talking at the same time.
Especially when someone nearby is having a loud phone call and the entire office accidentally becomes part of the conversation.
That situation feels painfully familiar.
Another important word is deadline, which means the final time or date when something must be completed and submitted.
Deadlines can definitely create pressure, especially when you have multiple projects waiting at the same time.
Very true. But deadlines also help people stay organized and focused instead of delaying everything until the last moment.
Then we have the word boss, which simply means the person who manages employees and makes important decisions at work.
Some bosses are strict and serious, while others are friendly enough to joke with their employees during coffee breaks.
And hopefully, everyone watching has the second type of boss.
Yes, life becomes much easier with a kind manager.
Another common word is client, which means a customer or company you work with professionally.
For example, a designer might say, "I have an important meeting with a client this afternoon to discuss a new project."
And of course, there's the word team, which is one of the most important parts of many modern workplaces.
A strong team can motivate you during difficult times, celebrate your success, and help you grow both professionally and personally.
Honestly, having supportive people around you can completely change how you feel about your job every single day.
That brings us to another interesting topic, job satisfaction. In simple words, do you actually enjoy your work or not?
For me, the answer is definitely yes, because I love creating content, sharing ideas, and connecting with people from different parts of the world.
That passion really shows when you speak, and I think viewers can feel your positive energy immediately.
Thank you, James. That truly means a lot, because creating educational content takes time, creativity, and a lot of patience behind the scenes.
I completely understand because teaching also requires patience, especially when students feel nervous or lose confidence while learning English.
But the most rewarding moment is seeing someone improve slowly, become more confident, and finally start speaking English without fear.
Honestly, those small success stories are what make difficult days worth it and remind us why we love our jobs in the first place.
Of course, even if we love our jobs, there are always certain parts that feel difficult, exhausting, or sometimes a little frustrating.
That's completely normal because no job in the world is perfect, and every profession comes with its own challenges and responsibilities.
For example, I absolutely love interacting with our audience and creating new ideas. But editing videos for long hours can sometimes make my brain feel completely tired.
I understand that feeling very well, because grading homework and checking mistakes for hours can also become exhausting after a long day.
Especially when your eyes start looking at the computer screen like they've been working for 10 years without a vacation.
Exactly. At that moment, even making a simple cup of coffee feels like a major achievement.
But despite those stressful moments, loving the meaningful parts of your work makes everything easier to handle in the long run.
That's very true. And sometimes people decide they want a completely different career because they no longer feel happy or motivated in their current job.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with wanting change, because people grow, their dreams change, and sometimes they discover new passions later in life.
Someone might say, "I'm searching for a new opportunity because I want better work-life balance and a healthier environment."
Or they might say, I want a job closer to home because spending 3 hours in traffic every day is exhausting.
Honestly, long commutes can steal so much energy before the workday even begins.
Another common reason people change jobs is because they want to learn new skills and continue growing professionally.
Exactly. Learning never truly stops, especially in today's world where technology and industries keep changing very quickly.
That's why many people take online courses, attend workshops, or practice communication skills in order to improve their future opportunities.
Speaking of experience, Zoe, have you ever had a job very different from what you do now?
Actually, yes. Before creating content full-time, I worked part-time in a small cafe while studying, and honestly, it taught me so much about dealing with people.
I imagine you met many different personalities every single day.
Oh, definitely. Some customers were incredibly kind, and others looked angry before they even ordered their coffee.
Working with customers really teaches you patience, communication, and how to stay calm under pressure.
Exactly. And even though that job was tiring sometimes, it helped me become more confident while talking to strangers.
That's the beautiful thing about past experiences, because even difficult jobs can teach valuable lessons that help us later in life.
What about you, James? Did you always know you wanted to become a teacher?
Not really. When I was younger, I actually worked in a small company office where I spent most of my day answering emails and organizing documents.
Wow, that sounds completely different from teaching students and speaking in front of people every day.
It was very different, but that experience taught me organization, responsibility, and professional communication, which still help me today.
That's inspiring, because many people feel worried when their career path changes, but sometimes those changes lead us exactly where we belong.
I truly believe every job teaches something important, even if we don't realize it immediately at the time.
And honestly, hearing different career stories can motivate people who feel confused or uncertain about their own future.
Exactly, because success is not always a straight road. Sometimes people change directions many times before finally discovering the work that makes them genuinely happy.
Now, let's talk about something that makes people feel hopeful and motivated: the future and the dreams we want to achieve in our careers.
I love this topic because talking about future goals gives people energy, direction, and something meaningful to work toward every day.
Exactly. Even if someone is unhappy in their current situation, having a dream for the future can keep them moving forward step by step.
So Zoe, where do you see yourself in the next few years?
Honestly, I'd love to manage Speak Like Leader full-time, create bigger educational projects, and inspire millions of English learners around the world.
That sounds like an incredible dream, and I can already imagine so many people learning confidently because of your content.
Thank you, James. That really motivates me to keep improving and working harder every day.
And that's another useful sentence learners can use. I want to improve my skills and continue growing professionally.
Yes, because employers and companies always appreciate people who are curious, motivated, and willing to learn new things.
Personally, I'd love to travel to different countries and teach English to students from many different cultures and backgrounds.
That honestly sounds like an amazing adventure filled with new experiences, beautiful places, and unforgettable memories.
I think traveling also teaches us kindness and understanding because we meet people with completely different lifestyles and perspectives.
That's so true. Sometimes conversations with strangers can teach us more about life than books or classrooms ever could.
And what about our viewers? Maybe someone watching today dreams of becoming a doctor, an artist, an engineer, or even starting their own business someday.
Whatever your dream is, never feel embarrassed to talk about it proudly, because every successful person once started with only a small idea and a lot of hope.
And remember, progress does not happen overnight. Small daily improvements eventually create big results in the future.
That's exactly why practicing English regularly is so important, because every conversation helps you become more confident little by little.
Even making mistakes is part of learning, so don't stay silent just because you are afraid of speaking imperfect English.
Yes, confidence grows when you practice, not when you wait for the perfect moment.
Honestly, if we waited to become perfect before speaking, none of us would ever open our mouths.
That is completely true.
Before we finish, let's quickly review what we learned today because we covered many useful expressions about jobs and careers.
We learned how to describe our job titles, explain responsibilities, talk about daily routines, and describe work environments naturally in English.
We also talked about coworkers, deadlines, meetings, flexible schedules, and the importance of teamwork in professional life.
Then we discussed job satisfaction, stressful situations, past experiences, career changes, and future dreams.
And most importantly, we practiced how to ask friendly questions that help conversations continue naturally and comfortably.
We truly hope this conversation helped you feel more confident speaking English about your work, your goals, and your everyday life.
And if you enjoyed spending time with us today, please support Speak Like Leader by subscribing, sharing this episode, and leaving a comment below.
Tell us about your dream job or what you enjoy most about your current work, because we genuinely love reading your stories and connecting with all of you.
Thank you so much for learning with us today. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and remember that every small step you take in English is bringing you closer to your dreams.